Hello from Texas Hills Realty, LLC, where we are about to bring you a new program, a new talk show. We're going to talk about real estate, probably once a week or so, and let's call it the Texas Hills Realty Talk Show. We're located at 502 East Main in Fredericksburg. That's the northeast corner of Elk and Main. Some of you may recognize that as the red and black Ford pickup. I believe it's a 1931, and sometimes you'll see various decor on the back. People have given us chickens and chicks and eggs, and it makes for a little bit of change of scenery week to week, and we enjoy participating and receiving things from local. What we want to do is bring you information about real estate in the Hill Country, primarily the Central Texas Hill Country. People ask us a lot of questions from time to time, and so we try to identify those questions we hear more about than any of the others. And often we hear things, probably the number one single most asked question is, what is the market doing? We hear that over and over. And of course, you have to identify different aspects of the market. And then when you say, what is it doing? You have to say, compared to what? Is it compared to last year? Compared to earlier this year? Compared to Kerrville? What do we need to compare it to? So those are some of the things we're going to talk about. What type of real estate is moving the best? Is it a house in town? A house out in the country? Is it a city lot? Is it raw acreage? What's moving the best? People want to know. What price ranges are hot and which ones are not? How do sales compare this year versus the same period last year? What are acreage prices doing? And we're looking forward to other questions that you may have. If you have questions, you'd like us to address them, we'll address as many as we can if you'll just send us an email to info@texashillsrealty.com. I'll repeat, info@texashillsrealty.com. The information we give you is going to be from several sources. Probably most often will be the local MLS. That's the Central Texas Hill Country MLS. That MLS covers Gillespie, Kimball, Mason, and Blanco counties. So that's going to be the bulk of most of it. We will often respond to questions regarding homes, and that would mean homes in town, or we'd have to identify other homes which are in the county but not necessarily in town. Next up, I wanted to discuss a little of the history of Texas Hills Realty and kind of bring folks in the Central Texas Hill Country up to date on who we are and how we got here. Back in September of 1994, Greg Ayler, started a company called Gillespie Realty. I'd been in the finance business for savings and loans, doing mortgage lending and sales and management for 17 years. Mostly in the West Texas area out in Midland, Odessa, and then also in the Dallas Metroplex area, where I spent almost 9 years. So I wanted to get back to the Fredericksburg area, and real estate is my passion. That's when I started up the company called Gillespie Realty. In 2006, we decided to purchase a franchise called GMAC Real Estate. It sounded like a great program, a lot of help, and we got involved with that. And all went well until the big crash, the market crash. And GM found out that we were one of the most profitable parts of their entire company. So they sold us. And another company in 2010 or sometime afterwards called Real Living purchased us. Real Living was not really heard of in this area that much. It was primarily up in the Northeast. But Real Living had about 30,000 agents, and that's a lot of agents for a franchise company. It later became owned by the Berkshire Hathaway Company, and if you haven't heard of that, you've probably heard of one of the primary stockholders. That would be Warren Buffett. Then in about May of this year, May 1st, 2016, we declared our independence, and we became Texas Hills Realty Fredericksburg. There's me, the owner-broker, Greg Ayler, and I have 4 agents with me. I have Andrew Harvey, I have Malin Williams, Joe Kostelski, Phil Fry, and I also have an administrative person, Jared Klimple. I'll tell you a little bit about each one of those in just a moment. First of all, let me say that I'm a native in Fredericksburg, born and raised here, was here until I went off to school. I couldn't wait to get back. It took me a while, but I'm certainly glad to be back and could not have enjoyed any other industry near as much as the real estate industry. I've been involved in it now for almost 23 years. There's Andrew Harvey. When you talk to him, it won't take long. You'll understand. He's got that accent from South African. We like to say he speaks the Queen's English. Andrew's been with us for a couple of years now, and he's involved in all sorts of real estate listings and sales. There's Malin Williams. She comes to us from Atlanta, Texas. She's a Baylor grad. Adds one of the nicer touches to our office. And Malin is great with staging, making colors look right, getting close to some of the people that we deal with and helping them in special needs. We come against all sorts of situations in people's lives, whether they've lost loved ones or otherwise have no other help. And Malin has been really great at recognizing and helping those people that need that sort of assistance. Then there is Joe Kostelski. Joe is most recently from the San Antonio area, a UTSA grad. He spent most of his earlier years in the pharmaceutical business. He's done some consulting. He loves, Joe wanted me to be sure and say that he loves his 65 Shelby AC Cobra. When he has nothing else to do, Joe hops in the Cobra and tours the hill country. He also loves hunting and he loves diving. In fact, he loves it so much, in the next week or two, Joe's going to be in Hawaii celebrating an anniversary, and one of the best things on his trip at that time is going to be doing some deep sea. Then there's also Phil Fry. Phil hails to Fredericksburg. He got here as fast as he could from Lancaster County, the Pennsylvania Dutch area, and has ancestors that come from Bavaria in Germany all the way to Mannheim, Pennsylvania. He attended college at the University of New Hampshire and got a BA in business management and finance. He later pursued a career in corporate finance with Fortune 500 companies. He's traveled both international and in domestic areas. He ran his first finance department at the division level at the age of 28. An additional 18 years in the hospital industry, he's been buying, investing, and selling and managing hotels. His hunting is passion. He likes to hunt all over the country and abroad. Phil is married, his wife of 26 years, and they have two wonderful children, 23 and 19. And then I mentioned Jared. Jared is a relatively newcomer to us. He's a Fredericksburg native, and Jared is helping us in the admin area, especially in the tech world. We always need a little bit of help fine-tuning something on the computer or making it work, and it's so nice to be able to have Jared and say, Jared, help. People are sometimes a little nervous or intimidated by talking to a realtor. We're folks here from the hill country. We're folks here from Fredericksburg. We're not going to jump in your back pocket and rip the wallet out and tear up all the money that's in there. We're not going to jump in your purse and grab everything you've got. Come talk to us if you have questions about real estate. If you're uncomfortable coming in, send them to us. And again, you would email those to info@txhillsrealty.com. info@txhillsrealty.com. And we'll do our best to get back to you, answer the questions you have, and it's always interesting for us to see what's on your mind out there. But if you're just not used to the computer, if you just don't feel comfortable doing that, by all means, we have a covered parking spot right by our front door. We're located at 502 East Main. That's the northeast corner of Elk and Main. And many of you will recognize the old red and black 1931 Ford pickup parked right outside our door. Just park right next to the truck someplace. Come in and see us. Tell us what's on your mind. I promise we will treat you fairly and as objectively as we possibly can. The information that we look up for you, whenever we quote statistics, is always going to come from the multiple listing service. Once in a while, we shorten that. We call it MLS. And you might get tired of worrying about what does that MLS stand for. But it's sort of the brains of the local board of real estate. It houses all of the listings. It's a reliable source for us to fall back on, to look up what sales have been, what's under contract, what's been withdrawn, how sales were last year compared to this year, and we use it almost every day. I would venture to say that most of our agents spend an hour to 3 hours on the MLS almost every day in their research. We are one of the premier researchers or analysts, and that MLS tool is quite helpful for us. Our office hours are 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and we stay open from 10 to 2 on Saturday. But more often than not, we're there more than those hours. Once in a while, you may see us where we have a sign up and we're all out looking at a property. But most of the time, we're going to have an agent right there, ready to help you, ready to answer those questions. Another source of the questions is at our website, which is www.texashillsrealtyfredericksburg.com. Let me repeat, www.texashillsrealtyfredericksburg.com. And we will post data there just about every week. Malin helps me set that up, and we'll put an article of interest. It may be something to do with events in Fredericksburg. It may be a market update, especially when there's significant periods of time, say 9/30/2016. But generally, it will be informative about the Fredericksburg and Gillespie County Hill Country market. We represent buyers. We represent sellers. And what we try to give you is the absolute most objective information we can find. We don't like blowing smoke. We don't like those who do. We try to tell you right what the market tells us, exactly what the market tells us, even if that means we may be at some number that's less than some other realtor told you. We think that being accurate is more important than just telling you something you want to hear. We work with a lot of people that need to know what to do in the event of a death or a probate issue. What could they expect out of their property? How long would it take to sell? And by the way, when I mention how long would it take to sell, the number we try to give you is a 6-month or less number. We feel that is the most generally well-accepted number out there. Not how long it would take to sell over 5 years, but how long would it take to sell in 6 months or less. When we see inventory levels below 6 months, the market tends to lean towards a seller's market. When we see inventory levels above 6 months, the market tends to lean towards a buyer's market. These properties are hanging around. They're on the market a little too long. Maybe the seller gets anxious over a period of time and he starts knocking the price down just a bit. So that's the difference in those two. My agents know how to calculate what is the inventory level. Each and every one have calculated that over and over. And we think that's extremely important when you're pricing your property. We do not try to give you the highest number possible. We try to give you the most accurate, realistic number possible. Send in your questions to info@texashillsrealty.com, info@txhillsrealty.com, and we'll do our best to try to answer your questions as they come up. We will be speaking to you on a weekly basis and look forward to hearing what's important to you guys out there. One of the sayings we've kind of thought about for ourselves over the years is we help natives sell and Auslanders become native. And we've done that for over 22 years. We're heading down the street to 23 years in Fredericksburg. This is Greg Ayler at Texas Hills Realty, LLC, and we brought you the Texas Hills Realty Talk. Give us a call at 830-997-6123 or drop by and see us at 502 East Main in Fredericksburg.